Not by power, by your spirit, God. Send your spirit, God. Okay, whew, okay. I'm ready now. To be honest, I don't know, this is probably the 7th take of this video because it's not easy to share. It's really not easy to share. In this video, I want to be open and honest with you because I'm always sharing, faith-based content and personal growth content in this channel. But I want you to know that the person who you are learning from and just connecting with on this space is not a perfect person. I don't come from a perfect place. I actually come from a broken place, and I'll get into that in a bit. I want to share with you my faith journey. And in this faith journey, I want to share with you how I came to meet Christ in my life, because I actually didn't grow up in a relationship with Christ. I grew up apart from God. Okay, I was living life apart from God, and actually many times in my life where I had stages where I didn't even believe or want to believe in God. The years of childhood and teen years, I'm just gonna put them into one, okay? Just so that the video is not too long for you. I believed that I was unworthy, hard to be loved, and I grew up feeling like I was useless and stupid. I would even hear this from authority figures at school. Even my own principal said, or headmaster said, that I am going to end up on the street, that I am a useless child, and I am worthless and stupid. This is not the first time I had heard those words being spoken to me. So I strongly believed it as a child and a teenager growing up. These were just my beliefs. Let me just make it clear. These were the beliefs that I had taken in from experiences, from words. And, I also went through some traumatic incidents as a teenager that caused me, and a child, that just caused me to feel like I'm the cause, I'm the problem, I am the reason why there is pain around me. And even like me not doing well in school, I was blaming myself for my poor performances because I can't concentrate, because I was going through depression. So I was depressed as a teenager, and I lived recklessly as a teenager. I was rebellious. Oh my Lord, the pain I put some people through. I was so rebellious as a child. I got involved with drugs and alcohol. And those two substances I was using to just numb my pain. So I was drinking with the aim of getting drunk. That was me from the age of 14 years old, going out clubbing, nights away from home, waking up in random people's houses. This was me, to be honest. I haven't even shared this story openly, but I did share my story on this book, How to Self-Love. And I go a lot in depth in here. I mean, look at the pages, but this is not solely focused on my pain. It's focused on what I did to go through it, overcome it, and stuff like that. But we're getting there. So there was a time I was forced to join a youth service, and this was a Christian focused youth service. There was this Christian group of girls and boys who were so focused on God, but I would get a lot of judgment from them. They would say things like, I'm going to be judged, I'm going to hell, the way that I'm living is reckless, and that God is angry with me if I don't repent today, then God is going to send me to hell, and he hates the way that I live, things like that. And I was just like, then I'll show you what reckless is. Oh my gosh, I was angry, okay? I was angry at why would God allow me to live the life that I'm living? If God really loves me, then why doesn't he take away these things that I'm going through in my life? Why doesn't he make my environment happy? I had so many things to say. And one time I was focused by a teacher to attend a youth service, I think because I got in trouble at school. And, the pastor was talking. I was one of those kids in the back like this. So one thing that was planted in me was a seed, and he spoke about confession, the power of confession. I also posted a video last week about confession, so go check that out. And that was the only thing I got from there. I think I just heard it by accident. But God was working, because He has His hand on each and every one of us, no matter how far we may feel from Him. Because at that time, I didn't know God, I didn't know Christ. I had heard of them, but Him, but I just didn't know Christ at all. And that was like me in my teen years, I think 16 around. So living in that life of rebellion, okay? Then there came a time in my life when I was going through a lot. I had went through another traumatic incident. I had many, okay, but this specific one was carrying so much weight, because I would wake up every morning. That was the horrible week, feeling a weight of dirt. Like, I'm just dirty, I'm filthy inside, in every part of me. My soul is dead. Like, I literally felt like that. And so out of the blue, I think my uncle really felt for me. He gave me this Bible, and that was in the year 2014. He wrote it there for me. But when he gave me this Bible, the first thing that I thought was, I don't need this. What is this gonna do for me? Because, I just wasn't in a good place. Time went on, and I just felt I just felt like I had no purpose. I felt no joy whatsoever. And I just cried to God. I was like, if you are real, please take this away from me. Take this pain away from me. And then I remembered what that pastor said about confessions. And I said, okay, let me just give it a try. I confessed this, going out, clubbing, self-harm, smoking, drunkenness, this, all the things, fornicating. I even said, Lord, I love to do these things. I didn't even say Lord, I was saying God. And that was just the first genuine, deep prayer I had ever prayed in my life. In tears, I cried, God, take this away from me. And not long, actually shortly after that prayer, things started coming into my life which took me out of that lifestyle. And one of them included my husband. And I think at the time, of course he was my husband, but at the time he was just like a guy who was interested in having a date with me. But at the time I was not looking for love. I was done with it. I said, so many guys have broken my heart, and some ended up with my friends and this is that. I'm just done. I'm gonna focus on working and growing, and just growing in this industry, growing in this hospitality industry. And then, he came the first time, gave me his number. I think I lost the paper. My mind was just all about work. I think I had forgotten. Then the second time he came again, this time I was just like, okay, he's a nice person, but I gotta work. I gotta focus on this. Then he came the third time, but there was something about this third time. He made me laugh and giggle. And, that is just the whole love story of another time. And so, he has no idea what he did, I think. I don't know if I communicated this to him, I don't remember, but that caused me to drift away from that lifestyle and focus on just our relationship, and that made me have more space for growth. Because yes, I had turned away from that way of living, like the clubbing and all the stuff I was involved in that got me in so many dangerous situations. The Lord was keeping me, because I could have been dead many times. I was in many situations like that. But being with him sort of silenced that lifestyle, but I was still broken. So for people who think, I just need love, I just need marriage, I just need this, if you don't deal with what's in here, it's going to affect your outcome. It's going to affect your life, because this stuff really pours out. And that's what was happening in the beginning of just drifting away from that lifestyle and coming into a new space of, okay, now I have to learn how to be in a relationship. But I was broken, and I was battling. When they say hurt people, that was me. I was the hurt person. But because what was coming out of me was not coming back to me. It was really making me look at myself in so many ways. Like, he had this thing where I was like, why is he not reacting like how men usually react, like I'm just that girl, and I'm like, come on. But I didn't get that, that back, what I was used to. And what that did, it shined the light on my darkness, and it was uncomfortable, it was painful. You know that saying, when you point at someone, you got three fingers pointing back at you? I one day broke down, and then I opened this Bible again and prayed a prayer. And in that prayer, I was called to focus on growing. Now, I did not know that there's such a thing. I thought it is what it is. I am who I am. This is how I am. This is how I grew up. But I hated myself. And then I was pregnant with my first child. I still hated myself. And, man, I went through a lot. During my pregnancy, like emotionally. I was still carrying all that dirt in my heart. And you cannot run away from your problems. You cannot run away from your trauma. You cannot run away from your pain. You need to deal with it in order to overcome it. And that is the journey that I started when I was pregnant. But it truly started when I received Christ into my life. When I was pregnant at 8 months, I will never forget going with my grandmother to church, finally, and receiving Christ in my life, because I realized at that time, at that moment, that I actually need God. You see, I didn't even know that he can be as real as he is. I didn't even know what that meant for me. But all I knew was I was empty inside. Like, my soul was really perishing and it was dead. But once I gave my life to Christ, it stirred up so much in my soul that I cannot even explain to you in words. But it's almost like I was drawn to growth. I was drawn to development. I was drawn to get closer to him. And the more that it's almost like you receive this love that you feel in your heart, and you're like, I want more, I want more, I want more. And the more and more I kept learning about Christ and my walk with him, the more I wanted more. And the more I was learning about myself, the more I was overcoming my traumas bit by bit. I was coming across verses that helped me walk through healing pain, trauma. I was getting advice from different places, but this time I was open to the advice. Before that, I was rejecting all things, rejecting because I was rebellious. I didn't want anyone to tell me what to do because I didn't trust anyone, because I had been hurt many times. But this time I was softened and opened up, and I wanted to do something to make myself better. And when I did that, I made my life better. The Bible taught me how to be a wife. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but it taught me so many things that molded me into the person that I am today. Of course, there's trials and errors here. I backslid before. If you haven't seen the video, I'll link it in the description below. And that was another calling from God. But what I've come to learn in all this that I've been through is that God had always been there, even when I rejected him multiple times as a teenager. He still held me. He still allowed me to go through those things. Because if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now. I wouldn't be counseling who I'm counseling. I wouldn't be so much in depth of a passion to help people who are going through depression, anxiety, fear, and having trouble mentally, emotionally, I wouldn't have that in my life. I would just be like having something else to do. But I don't even know if I would still be here, honestly. I wouldn't be able to share this if I hadn't gone through what I go. I wouldn't be the mom I am. I wouldn't be the wife I am today. I wouldn't be the person that I am today if it wasn't for what God has done for me. And it was the moment I opened up to him in confession that allowed him in. Now I understand, because of what I went through. Now I fully understand God's love. If I was just living a perfect life all the time, I would not even be open to God. I would not even find a reason to look for God if my life was all flowers and butterflies. But that pain, when I allowed him in my life, in my pain, in my unforgiveness, in my addictions, in my depression, I allowed him in that dark space. Man, that made me really see who God is, and it made me experience his love and his transforming power. God is love, and no matter what it is that you are going through, I want you to know that his power can be made perfect in your weakness. He died for that very reason, to reach you and I. And I didn't understand all this until I went on my own journey to finding God. No one had to tell me anything. No pastor had to preach over me. No, nothing. It was just my genuine wanting to know God that led me to believing more in him, because in searching him myself, that also drawed him closer.